Can I review a film?
Is it the Bros film?
It is the Bros film, Bros After the Screaming Stops. Brossed off. Sorry, is that original?
Yeah, I think so.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Occasionally.
Why didn't I think of it? Okay, so Matt, Luke Goss, darlings of 80s pop, who you interviewed on more than one occasion.
Oh, loads of time. When I was doing Breakfast, they were like they were the big stars at the moment.
Okay, and apparently you were due at one point to be in this documentary because you had interviewed them
I was supposed to.
Okay, but you're not.
Due to a diary clash.
Diary clash, exactly. You had other tidying up your pencil drawers to do. So they have been apart, and it looks like estranged for many years. And then Matt's been a performer in Las Vegas. Luke, as we know, working in movies with the likes of Guillermo del Toro. They're identical twins. I imagine everybody knows who Bros is, although I went to see this with Simran Hans from The Observer, who, of course, is much too young to remember Bros. Like so many pop brothers, they have tensions, seemingly due to the fact that, the drummer thinks that the singer is always telling everyone and stealing the limelight, and the singer thinks that the drummer is being unreasonable. But it's made worse by the fact that they're twins. So when they get back together again, their rehearsals, one of them has been playing music for a long time, one of them hasn't played his drum kit forever. So there are tensions before, all absolutely amplified by the fact that they are rival siblings because, that's always been in their DNA. Here's a clip.
I am missing that relationship with my brother, that I literally woke up in tears this morning. Because I just want the relationship with my brother. I don't want to talk about 50. You can have 100% shareholder of Bros. I don't care about that. I'm not saying it about business. Don't bring up the 50%, 50%. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about being brothers.
I'm going to defend myself. People are scared of you, man, and I'm not going to be that guy.
But I broke yesterday, Luke, emotionally. I am completely not over it. If you think just because you tell me to be.
I was embarrassed. I'm learning my instrument.
No, let's not.
Hang on. I'm learning. Don't shut me down. I'm going to speak. I've listened.
All right, Luke,
I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak.
You're going to speak. You're going to speak, are you? You're going to speak. Because I've just told you how I feel. Yourself.
Do you want Let me tell you.
Wow, that's a lot of bird song in there.
So, the title comes from something that Terry Wogan said, which is actually included in the documentary when he says they're being interviewed on television. He says, so what happens after the screaming stops? And which is a very pointed question. But this could equally be called, This is Spinal Bros, or even, after Anvil's Bros, the story of Bros. Because on the one hand, you get this portrait of these two brothers, and the wounds are raw and tangible, and they kind of they kind of put their differences aside and work together and dealing with the fact that they were so famous, that they were so enormously famous. On the other hand, there is dialogue in which they are saying things that sometimes you even wonder whether somebody scripted it. Like, for example, I listened to Stevie Wonder's Superstition. I decided never to be superstitious. This is my favourite quote, which everybody in the screening loved it. Rome wasn't built in the day, but then we don't have the time that Rome had, which is really Nigel Tufnell levels of, and then you get this, and I don't want this. There's a thing about the band names, and the word epitome comes up on the screen. He says, epitome, that's Latin. Again, I couldn't tell whether that was joking or not. There's another lovely bit about, it's a blank page, you've got to turn the page, because if you don't turn the page, the story doesn't make sense. When you get to the end, you think, what was that? And there, all these things are in there, but also at the heart of it, you do have this sense of, the battling brothers who are trying to, there's a lot of hugging, there's a lot of crying, there's a lot of shouting, there's a lot of saying things that are nonsensical, there's a lot of saying things that every now and then hit the... Now, I was never a Bros fan, but I really, really enjoyed this documentary. I mean, you kind of, on one level, you want to cuddle them. You want to say, look, it's going to be all right. On another level, it is really funny, and it's very, very hard to know how much that funniness is. One thing which is weird is if you remember Bros from first time round, you remember the whole thing was that it was Matt, Luke, and Craig, who Viz magazine dubbed Ken because
he's the guy who left, wasn't he?
He's not in this. I mean, it's like literally speed.
So I'm not in it, and he's
not in it either.
It's kind of undermined.
So the whole way that the Bros is basically it's those two, because before they were but then they were Bros. But the whole thing that Viz did, which one do you fancy, Matt, Luke, or the one that no one fancies? Actually, there is an interesting story about Craig/Ken, but that is not being told here. What is being told here is the story of the battling brothers who talk like they've been written by Christopher Guest, and the David St Hubbins Nigel Tufnell factor is right at the heart of this. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. If you love Bros, if you hate Bros, doesn't make any difference. The film is really charming.
Go see it with Grolsch bottle tops on your shoe.
There's a lot of that.